putting on his helmet at this time. Bill Nelson was elected to the U.S. Congress in 1978 and was re-elected to his fourth term in 1984. He is chairman of the Space Science and Applications Subcommittee and a member of the Banking, Finance, and Urban Affairs Committee. Congressman Nelson is a fifth-generation Floridian whose family came to Florida in 1829. In 1917, his grandparents homesteaded in what is now the Kennedy Space Center. He attended the public schools in Brevard County and graduated from Melbourne High School in 1960. In college, he graduated with a Bachelor of Arts from Yale University. He received a law degree from the University of Virginia and was admitted to the Florida Bar in 1968. Congressman Nelson was a captain in the United States Army, serving in the reserves from 1965 to 1971 and was on active duty from 1968 to 1970. In 1972, he was elected to the Florida legislature and served 6 years until he was elected to Congress. Bill Nelson has been honored by the Florida Jaycees as one of the 5 outstanding young men of Florida and was nominated as the most valuable member of the Florida House of Representatives. 2 Florida colleagues have conferred upon him honorary degrees, a Doctor of Laws from Rollins College and a Doctor of Science from Florida Institute of Technology. He is married to the former Grace Cabot of Jacksonville. They have 2 children, Billy, age 9, and Nan Ellen, age 8. All continues to go well on the countdown at this time. The simulated T0 of Columbia is 11 a.m. Launch remains targeted for the 18th of December at 7 a.m. in the morning. Landing will follow on the 23rd of December, also at 7 a.m., and this will be the first landing back at the Kennedy Space Center since April. At T-minus 1 hour, 56 minutes, and 7 seconds, this is Shuttle Control.
T-minus 10, 9, 8. We have a go for main engine start. 6, 5, 4. And the simulated RSLS abort has been given.
Starts out Charlie Bolden, the pilot on this flight. Charlie's going to be going for his first space flight, and Charlie's a Marine Corps test pilot. Steve Hawley, who's mission specialist number 2. Steve's going to be our center seater on this flight. Steve is making his second space flight. He was on 41D. Bob Cenker is our payload specialist from RCA in New Jersey. Bob has been associated with the SATCOM, the satellite that we're going to be putting out on the first day. And Bob is also the one who's bringing to us the infrared TV camera that we have on board. Franklin Chang, who's our mission specialist number 3. Franklin is making his first space flight, as is Charlie. Both of them have been with us since 1980, and this is their first go. Bill Nelson, of course, congressman from Florida, who's coming with us, and Bill is going to be involved in quite a few medical experiments as well as a protein crystal growth study that he's going to be doing on board. And George Pinky Nelson, our star of the IMAX movie. George is making his second flight, of course, and Pinky is our mission specialist number 1 for this flight.
Bill, despite the importance of this mission, as you probably well know by now, there's been a lot in the press about the James Beggs affair. What are your thoughts about the case?
Well, as I said to the several people who asked me when we arrived here a couple of days ago and this story just broke, I've had quite a bit of dealing with Jim Beggs in my capacity as chairman of the committee, and I have found him always to be a very honorable gentleman. And of course I'm surprised, as all of us are, by these accusations.
Do you see this case in any way detracting from your mission?
To the contrary, I think the fact that you will see this professional organization continue to operate in the most professional manner. And I think it again will demonstrate the excellence of this agency called NASA.
Do you think the indictment will taint NASA at all?
No, ma'am. No more than the indictment of any government official would taint the government of the United States. We do live in a society that we hold dear to the principle that one is innocent until proven guilty. So let's remember that.
Do you think Mr. Beggs should take a leave of absence for the time being?
I don't know enough of the facts, Rob. We have been constantly in training here, and I'm going to defer a judgment on that until I see more of the facts.
Is that a problem for you, Bill, since you've been here dealing with the flight? Are you out of touch on how you're dealing with your congressional responsibilities and what could be considered a critical time for NASA?
Well, I suppose the way to answer that is we were checking out all of the stuff in our lockers. Pinky suggested that I take the telephone that happened to be closest by and stick it in one of the lockers. They have seen me in between all of our sessions in the last month and a half on the telephone. Last night, just before supper, they heard me going over the various votes that we expect on certain amendments on a bill that are occurring today, and telling the staff how to go out and seek a live payer for me. And so it's been a challenge to do both jobs at once, but thus far we've been successful.
Have you talked to Mr. Beggs since the incident happened?
No, I haven't.
Remember on the landing
Yes, that's right. In general, that's what we'll do. We would rather bring it down here, and it's more time efficient to wait an extra day in orbit, which of course we'd love to do. We'd love to stay up an extra day. It's more time efficient really for us to wait one more day if we have a good forecast for the next day. But if we're not seeing a decent looking forecast for the next day, then they probably, the NASA management will probably determine that we should come down on time, but at Edwards, where the weather is generally better, and that will involve a night landing. Both Charlie and I have been doing a significant amount of our training for landing the orbiter at night, so we're ready and prepared to make the landing at either place. Well, let me say that the movement to conduct another nose gear steering test really is coming from us, from the astronaut office. We have seen it, obviously, on the lake bed, evaluating the nose gear steering, and of course the lake bed, because of the firmness of the surface, is not the same as a runway. So we would like to see it tested again on the runway, steering at 15 or 20 feet off and evaluating how well it handles on a runway. We'd like to see it done on this flight. Unfortunately, it just doesn't fit. And well, I think that there isn't really anyone that's against it. Everyone agrees it's a good idea. Unfortunately, it just doesn't fit on this particular flight. It'd be nice if we could do it, but it doesn't fit on the runway here because we don't have enough leeway off to the sides if we do leave the runway. It doesn't fit at Edwards because we're in the darkness. So I think what we'll do is we'll press on to have it on a subsequent flight and conduct the steering test. We would rather, I think, come back here in the daytime than come back to Edwards in the night. Yes, we are. We'll be using the nose gear steering wheel. That's right.
Shop early.
That's right. Yeah, we're landing on the 23rd, so that leaves us one whole shopping day before Christmas. If you can call Christmas Eve a shopping day, that's a bad day to go shopping. So all of us, in addition to trying to get all of our training done, and Congressman Nelson kind of alluded to how busy we are in the training. For this last 2 weeks, we've been searching for an extra hour for a training session. We're having a difficult time finding one extra hour, so I don't know how we're going to get Christmas shopping done, but that's the one special thing that we're trying to get done for the flight.
Franklin, 3 Space Lab missions this year and all the science to be performed on your flight. Do you think the shuttle program has passed through a crossroads this year, ensuring that the shuttle's an acceptable platform for performing science?
Yeah, in fact, I think that's exactly the case. More and more we're seeing, especially in our flight, we're carrying on board 13 getaway special cans, which are really fairly cheap ways of doing meaningful science. And we're carrying, in addition to that, experiments on materials, material science, astronomy. We have Earth observation, we have life sciences, and of course a lot of aerodynamics work that we'll be doing. So it's really a very scientific flight, as it turns out.